Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back for another fight card prediction. UFC Chile or UFC Fight Night 129 from the Movie Star Arena in Chile, which is the first time the UFC has made the jaunt down to down there. Sorry, I'm a little bit later with this. I had a little bit of trouble with my old computer that I used to record on, so I had to go out and make a purchase of a new microphone for my MacBook here, which the sound was always a little bit off, so I apologise for that. Coming off UFC 224, when I think it was 10 of 12, 11 of 13 picks, which is very decent. I won 3 of my 4 bets. All in all, it was a pretty good week, except for DraftKings. DraftKings kind of sucked a little bit. I lost about $70, $80 in that, so nothing too big, but yeah, not a bad card whatsoever. I think we're at just shy of 1900. I think we've got like 139 till we hit 2000. So let's get me to 2000, guys. If you can, please subscribe. If you know somebody that would like to subscribe, then by all means. The one thing that I do love is the comment section. Every week there's always something there. There's always a little bit of shit talking. There's stuff going down there. Try and stay respectful with it, though, because sometimes it does get a little bit out of hand. But overall, just let me know your picks. Let me know who you're betting. And yeah, hopefully we can cash some bets this weekend and move on to a really good week, which will be in Liverpool. I'll be in Liverpool, so I'll probably get that out to you on Sunday night again. So keep an eye out for that there. So we're going to be starting off in the lightweight division with Claudio Puelles against Felipe Silva. The odds have been released. I've actually got them there, looking at them. Something I never usually do when I'm making my predictions, but they were out, so I went and had a little look. And this is for about the last week or so. This has been the fight I've been looking at. It's the easiest money, I think, on the whole entire card in favour of Felipe Silva. I think Claudio Puelles is a very young kid. He's moving up to lightweight, where he was against Martin Bravo. I think it was at featherweight, if I'm not mistaken. And he's moving up very, very green. Still fights out of Peru. He's really kind of got a kind of jiu-jitsu game. That's something, even if you go and look in his social media, he's always posting about jiu-jitsu. So that's obviously where he wants to take this fight. Now, Felipe Silva is coming off a devastating knockout loss to Mirbek Taisumov, where he just got too aggressive and he paid for it in the worst way whatsoever with that right hand that came over and put him clean out. It was a horrible, horrible shot. Another devastating knockout for Mirbek Taisumov. His fight beforehand against Shane Campbell, he got a beautiful knockout. He really started it with being aggressive, pushing Campbell up against the fence. Really, he went into the clinch and actually unloaded some nice knees to the body, then managed to turn him around, put him against the cage, and he hit him with an absolute howitzer of a left body shot that folded up Shane Campbell, followed up with a right, then a left, put him down, got the stoppage there. I just think that Claudio Puelles, I don't think he's going to get it to the ground. So from there, I think it's on the feet, and I think the more crisper striker is Felipe Silva, and I think he hits harder. Like I say, I think this kid's too green. I think it's going to be one of my most confident picks of the whole entire card. I'm going to pick Felipe Silva via KO in round number 1. Bantamweight division, we have Henry Briones against Frankie Saenz. Two guys who are up there in age. I can't see them being around the UFC all that much longer in the next probably 18 to 24 months. I think both guys are at that teetering stage where a loss here could quite easily project them out of the UFC. Henry Briones is just a guy that really is a brawler. He's a tough, tough brawler who likes to get into scraps, likes to make it dirty, likes to throw a lot of heavy leather. Where we've got someone like Frankie Saenz there who's coming off a win over Mirab Devashvili, where I thought he lost that fight. I thought that I know that Mirab really gassed hard like he seems to do in majority of his fights, but I just didn't. When I watched that fight back, I was like, man, there's no way that he should have got that decision. But you can't leave it in the hands of the judges. You just can't do that. So Frankie Saenz, I think what it is here, this is going to be a quintessential grappler against striker here, with Briones being the striker and Frankie Saenz being the wrestler. He really doesn't possess much else really on the feet, does Frankie Saenz, but he does have a really good wrestling, a really good grappling game, very strong. And that's where I think he's going to want to use this here. I think he's going to get takedowns. I think he's going to do it quite a lot in this fight. I can see maybe Briones been able to get back to his feet on the odd occasion, but I don't see how he's going to make it to his feet on every occasion. And from there, I think Frankie Saenz is going to rinse, repeat, takedowns, lay heavy on him, hit him with strikes. It might be one in DraftKings where he maybe advances position a little bit. But honestly, it's a fight I'm not overly invested in. Henry Briones, I think, is fighting for his career here. He's coming off some losses. He's been in some big fights where he had injuries as well. So it's something. He's 3 losses in a row. This guy loses, he's on his way out for sure. He lost to Cody Garbrandt, Silva de Andrade, Rani Yaya. Hard fights, in all honesty, but he's only win against Guido Cannetti. Not saying much in my opinion. I'm going to pick Frankie Saenz. I think he's the better pick. As long as he doesn't get hit with a big shot, which Briones can hit you with, I think he gets takedowns. I think he wins fights. So I'm going to go Frankie Saenz via decision there. And the main event fight of the UFC Fight Pass prelims, we have Enrique Barzola against Brandon Davis. Third fight in 5-6 months for Brandon Davis here. He fought at UFC 220, fought in Texas against Steven Peterson. A great fight. It was a brawl of a fight. And obviously he's got Enrique Barzola here. Starting off with Brandon Davis, obviously he's going to want to keep this standing. He's got fairly decent striking, good leg kicks, very aggressive, comes forward, doesn't really take a backward step. Kind of like his fight teammate in Jason Knight. They belch your guys. They don't seem to take a back step. They come forward, look to make it dirty and make it grimy. And I think he's got himself a tough fight here against Barzola. Barzola's a guy who's really impressed me. He could really have been undefeated in the UFC, in all honesty. I know I picked Barzola in that, Bochniak in that fight, but I think that when you go back and watch it, it's quite hard on Enrique Barzola. Love the fact that he's moved himself to American Top Team. You can definitely see the nucleus of his striking getting a lot better. He's not one of these fighters like he was in the Gutierrez fight, in the Bochniak fight, who's looking for takedowns. In the Avila fight, took him down easily. Benitez fight, to have a good win like Gabriel Benitez on your record, I think is legit. And then he beat Matt Bessette. I don't think he looked all that great in the Bessette fight, but he still won a unanimous decision. He mixed it in towards the end of the rounds with takedowns after it was a little bit back and forth in the feet. I thought his leg kicks are something that's very, something he's very much improving on. So yeah, I think I like him in this fight to get takedowns. Now, I do see Davis working his way back to his feet. The one thing that I like about Davis is he has a good pace about him, keeps coming forward, and looks to make it just a dirty, grimy fight. If he can do that here, then he has an opportunity to win. I just don't think he's going to be able to stop the takedowns. And I think Barzola is going to get takedowns at the right times in the round. So I think he will initiate on the feet. I think he could be a little bit back and forward. I think he has to be careful with those leg kicks, does Barzola, because I think Davis checks him actually really well from the fights I've seen before the UFC, and a couple of times in the UFC he's checked some really good low kicks. But I think the times that Brandon Davis throws kicks, I think that's where Barzola can come in and take him down from there. So I'm going to go Enrique Barzola to win that fight via decision there. Moving on to the prelims, this is a good fight. Gabriel Benitez against Humberto Bandenay. Bandenay was, I can't believe, when I sit back and look now, I cannot believe I picked Martin Bravo over him in his last fight. Came out uber aggressive in that fight against Bravo, threw a big left kick, and then Bravo tried to get too aggressive and came forward and ate an absolute vicious knee that absolutely put Bravo out. Head turned and everything, was completely out. When you go back and watch his fights before the UFC, he's a guy who has striking. I think he can be taken down. I think he can be submitted, and that's something that I think that Benitez can use to the advantage here. Now, Benitez, I think, is coming off a career performance against Jason Knight. Now, I don't think Jason Knight, the real Jason Knight, turned up for that fight, but I don't know if that was more on him or the fact that Gabriel Benitez just bossed the fight from the get-go, fought a really solid game plan. His leg kicks are so vicious. It's one of the things I really look forward to when I go back to watch Benitez's leg kicks. The way he attacks the body is a thing that he's added to his arsenal as well. A fighter who I see only moving up. I think he's a ranked fighter now. I could be wrong. He might have dropped out. but he is in around that near top 15 position. And it's a little bit of an odd matchup considering Bandai, he's only had the one fight over like Martin Bravo, or which I know is the guy who won the Tough Latino America, whatever that was. But it's still a big step up when you look at who Benitez is. He's been in the UFC for a longer time. He's fought harder fighters. It's a big step up for Bandai here. I mean, Benitez is coming off wins overnight. He had one over Cecilia. That was a submission win there. Clay Collard. But here's a guy that he trades wins and losses. So this might be the fight where he actually gets a 2-fight win streak for the first time in about 4 years there. So I actually think he's going to submit him here. I think he's going to hurt him on the feet. I think that he's eventually, when he starts maybe with the leg kicks and he hurts him with those, I think eventually that Bandai is going to be willing to get taken down. I think from there, I think that Benitez has some chokes to his game. So I'm fairly confident in Gabriel Benitez there. I don't know what his line is. Let me have a quick peek at that. Because he is a guy that I actually quite like for a bet. Oh, minus 175. I see a minus 169 there. So if that could come down a little bit to minus 150, I would love that right there. But I am fairly confident in Mowgli Benitez here. I think he will get the win. I'm going to pick him via submission in round number 2. Women's strawweight division. I think this fight is an underrated fight, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Poliana Botelho against Syuri Kondo. Kind of different fights in the UFC debuts. When you look at Kondo's fight, I thought it was a lot of fun against Chan Mi-jeon. Stand-up fight, both girls super aggressive, both trading leather. I think that Kondo had a gas tank that just kept coming forward. She was like a mini Terminator coming in there, throwing lots of output, and just put it on Chan Mi for the majority of that fight. I think she landed like 150 strikes. So that's a lot of strikes to be landing in a fight. Poliana Botelho, she came off that fight with Pel Gonzalez. She came out, she started ripping her with leg kicks, a really wide stance. That's what I love about Botelho. Really, she's quite a big gun. She's like 5'9", 5'10", if I remember right, long reach, with vicious leg kicks, and she does establish a good jab as well. The fight was a bit of a downer for the fact that Pel Gonzalez wanted nothing on the feet. She literally just put her against the cage and held on and tried to get the takedown. Couldn't really get it. And then eventually Poliana Botelho reversed off the cage and got a takedown of her own, which was nice to see at the end of that fight, and won pretty convincingly, in my opinion. Like I say, I think both these girls are going to really come at each other. Kondo has to get in close, I think, initiate in the clinch, and look to try and, not in the clinch, the kind of danger zone of Botelho. But Botelho, I think, is one of these fighters with those long kicks. She can stand back and catch Sure coming in. You go back and watch her fights before the UFC, this girl was sleeping girls with big shots as well. That's the thing with Mackenzie Dern as well. She takes a lot of flack, but that girl can hit, and she's a big girl as well. I see kind of Botelho being able to do things like that as well. I think she can sleep girls and hit people that they've not been hit with that kind of power before. Maybe not to the extent of what Mackenzie can do, because when she hit Amanda Cooper at the weekend, that was pretty vicious. Cooper's face was like, oh, I've never been hit like that before by a girl. So I like Poliana Botelho in this one. I actually think she could stop Yuri Kondo here. So I'm going to go Poliana Botelho via TKO, end of round number 2. If not, I think it's going to be a brawl for all 15 minutes. So Botelho's going to be the pick there. Flyweight division, we have a rematch from the Ultimate Fighter a few years back with Brandon Moreno facing Alexandre Pantoja, who comes in here on short notice after Ray Borg had to pull out. By the way, shout out to Ray Borg, who's had some really difficult family issues going on with his little baby. Hopefully everything's been cleared up and they can get home. It was a pretty devastating wee story regarding that. So hopefully the baby comes through there. Shout out to Ray Borg. I love the first fight between these two in the Ultimate Fighter. Lots of people, I think everybody was kind of writing off Moreno as like he's not supposed to be in there with someone like Pantoja. I think Pantoja was actually the number 1 seed was Moreno number 16? I think he might have been, if that's the way they were doing it back then. And Moreno came out and gave a real good account of himself, busted Pantoja up a little bit, but then experience of Pantoja really showed, and he managed to get the choke in the second round of that fight there. Since then, Moreno's come into the UFC, and he's been a little bit of a whirlwind. Come in there, won some fights, even main evented in his home country, which was probably a little bit quicker than what it should have been, but he still went in there and done the business, and got the main event there. Wins over Louis Smolka. That was a surprise to everybody. Sick guillotine choke. If you're catching Louis Smolka with stuff like that, then you know you've got a legit kind of choke and a squeeze on you. Very close fight with Ryan Benoit, who I thought it was going to be a tough fight for him. Got the win there. Then I think his standout win is Dustin Ortiz. Was getting taken down in that fight early. You know what Ortiz is like. He comes forward in your face, looks to take you down, make it dirty, make it a grimy, sweaty, hard fight. Then in the second round, he caught him with a beautiful head kick. Proceeded to get the back. And once this guy's got a position where you're in trouble and you're on the defense looking to try and get into a better position or not get choked, Moreno can definitely go and get you there. And he got the submission. And then the Sergio Pettis fight, I thought he would have shown a little bit more in that fight, I'll be honest with you. But I think Sergio Pettis just all-around game and his all-around striking just totally bamboozled Brendan Moreno, in my opinion. Pantoja, I watched him in Glasgow live, was super impressed with the finish over Neil Syuri. Now, I know Syuri was on his way to retiring, so it was really a nothing fight for Syuri because it was his last fight. But a guy who's been a top flyweight outside the UFC, made his way in, he's won a couple of fights. Eric Shilton, which was a little bit closer than what I think it should have been, in all honesty. Then he beat Neil Syuri. Then he lost to Dustin Ortiz, where just a bit like Dustin Ortiz can do, like I mentioned with Moreno. He came forward, pressured him, got takedowns. He did get back to his feet a couple of times, but just the strength of Dustin Ortiz kept him there, and he lost a unanimous decision back in January. I'm really interested in this fight, and I've struggled to pick who to win because Brandon Moreno really interests me in this one. I don't know what the odds are for this. I was gonna have a look, but I'll have a little look to see what they are. So Brandon Moreno is minus 135, and Alexandre Pantoja, I can see a plus 101 there, minus 105. Initially, my lean was Alexandre Pantoja. I think I'm going to stick with that, even though I've been flip-flopping a little bit. I just did the MMA huddle with my good man John, and he's pretty content with the fact that he thinks that Pantoja is going to really boss this for 3 rounds. I see it being close. I see Moreno having moments in this fight, but I'm going to pick Alexandre Pantoja to win via decision there. So not overly confident, but I think it's a fight I am looking forward to watching. And your main fight of the prelims, we have Zach Cummings facing off against Michel Prazares here. Now, Prazares, like we all know, a guy who's known for missing weight. It's pretty much been forced to move up to 170 because the amount of times he has missed weight down at 155. I think he's missed it on 3 occasions. Let me see. Catch weight bout, 3 times he's missed. So rightly so, he has to move up. He is on I think a 6-fight win streak in the UFC lightweight division. Went over some decent names. I think Gilbert Burns is a good win. I think Desmond Green is a good win. Really, with his game, he's got a power jiu-jitsu game around and looks to rip a submission down there. Like we've seen that with Josh Bartman, took him down, lay on him, managed to get to the north-south position and got a beautiful, beautiful choke there. That's what he's going to look to do. I don't think he's going to be able to do that against in the welterweight division. These guys are coming down from 200, 210 to fight at this. I know Zach Cummings, he must be topping the scales at over 200 pounds. Now, in saying that, Michel Prazares is probably a guy that's walking around at 180, 185. Wouldn't surprise me, 190. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if Michel Prazares actually misses weight here. Like I say, power jiu-jitsu game. not really good striking, but that's what he's going to look to do. He's going to look to clinch, take this fight to the ground. I don't think he's going to do it against a guy like Zach Cummings, who is a huge guy. He's got an 8-inch reach advantage, I think, here as well. He's going to have a massive height advantage, and he's just going to be the far bigger dude. It's going to look weird when these guys face off at the weigh-ins and you see the sizes of them both. Zach Cummings is just a consummate pro, solid pro, hard guy to face, good chin. I think he will want to take it to the ground in this one. I think once Michel Prazares starts to fade, which he's known for a little bit, he has faded in fights. I think that Zach Cummings can get takedowns, and I think once he gets a top position, I think he's going to rain shots on Michel Prazares here. I think this is going to be an eye-opener for Prazares, that he doesn't belong in this division, but he can't make 155. I think a 165 division. I've been calling for it for a while. I think he'd be a perfect guy for maybe 165. I like Zach Cummings here. I'm finding it hard to pick, or I'm finding it hard to picture Michel Prazares getting his hand raised at the end of this fight. I really do. So I'm going to pick Zach Cummings. I'm going to pick him via TKO in round number 2. So we're moving on to the main card now with a really solid fighter that I'm looking forward to seeing once again in the welterweight division. Vicente Luque faces off against Chad Laprise. We'll start off with Chad Laprise. I think he's a solid overall fighter. Nothing really stands out to me regarding Chad Laprise when I watch his fights. I think he's decent striking. I think he's got a decent speed with some of these combinations. I think he has decent footwork. I think his chin is still iffy. I think he can be hit with a big shot and be taken out. We've seen in that fight with Glover Bafando. Bafando caught him, like Bafando, to be fair to him, has some really good hand speed, and he showed in that fight. He hit him 3 times and put him down, but Bafando has no ground game. I think that Laprise didn't want anything on the feet, so he took him to the ground. It took him so easily. Once he got top position, Bafando was like, he had no idea what the hell he was doing, and was stuck on his back. And Laprise got him from there and stopped the fight. Vicente Luque's last fight was, when I watched the tape for majority of these fights, his fight stood out the most to me. I thought on 11 days' notice as well, short notice against Nico Price, bossed that fight. So many things I think you can take from that fight. Established a weakness in Nico Price with leg kicks, really hurt him there for the first round. Once he got comfortable, started using a beautiful long straight left jab, and he doubled it up, and really started to put a beating on Nico Price. Now, Nico Price was told in the corner in the second, after the first, you have to be more aggressive, you have to come forward. He tried to come forward, but he kept getting hit with beautiful counter strikes as well. And then eventually, once it got towards the end of the fight there, Luque had pressed him up against the cage, hit him with a beautiful shot, went to the ground, caught him in his Darce choke. Initially, Nico Price got out of it. They got back to the feet. He readjusted, folded him back over, and Nico Price was tapping in no time whatsoever. A lot of progression, a lot of really good things when you look at Vicente Luque. I think he has to be the aggressor. I don't think you've seen in the Leon Edwards fights, he was scared in some aspects of the fight there. He didn't want to really lose. I think on the feet, he knew that Leon Edwards was a really good striker, a solid overall fighter. So I just didn't think he fought to his optimal top place that he actually can in that one there. And when you look at the wins that he's got, I mean, Belal Muhammad, these last 3 fights, you look at the last 3 fights of both guys, actually, you have Vicente Luque, Nico Price, decent. Leon Edwards, he's a ranked fighter now. He's got a main event coming up in the summer. And Belal Muhammad, who he knocked out in the first round. Beautiful knockout, devastating knockout. Then you look at Chad Laprise, Galor Bafando, Brian Camozzi, T-Bolt Gote. He lost to Ross Pearson before that. So, yeah, I think it's a tough fight for Chad Laprise. The odds are probably a little bit off. I think they're maybe warranted, actually. I thought they were wanted to start off with. The more I've thought about it the last few hours, maybe they're a little bit off. He should be maybe around -200, maybe not -250. I would like that line to come down to maybe around -200. I might think about it. It was one of my leans for bets, but I think that I don't know whether I'm ready to pay the juice for that for Luque there. I think Luque's going to submit. I think he's going to hurt him on the feet. I think eventually it's going to find its way at the ground, and I think that Vicente Luque is going to catch one of those Darce chokes, head and arm chokes, and take him out via submission. So Vicente Luque via submission for me there. Bantamweight division, we have Chile's own, I think he's the only guy from Chile on the card, he is, Diego Rivas against Guido Cannetti here. I'm not high on Guido Cannetti. I think he's been made the kind of fall guy in this fight here. Coming in against Rivas. Cannetti, I think, is really on his last legs in the UFC. He was found out for taking some stuff. USADA caught him. He's 38 years old. Came back against Hyung Ho Khan, who I got a really nice bet on in that one there. Came out in the first round, tried to throw some heavy leather. Khan was just too big. His frame's massive. Eventually, once he got the takedown, it was only really just a one-way thing. From there, not the takedown. He actually caught the submission from the triangle and got him in the choke there. And just for a guy, and Kang was out for a few years, like 3 years, and looked light years ahead of this guy who'd only been out for maybe a year and a half. But he's only winning the UFC come over Hugo Viana like 3 years ago. I just think it's a bad matchup. I think Rivas is going to be G'd up fighting at home. Has to be careful. Can't come out there and be sloppy though, because Guido Cannetti has some power and he does swing really, really hard. So that is something that he has to keep in mind. Rivas, a big athletic dude. I don't know why I said big there, because he's not big, but athletic dude who can throw a lot of varying attacks, spinning attacks. We've seen him land a flying knee and nod la hat. Lost last time out to Teco Quinones down in Mexico. I think it was a fight that Teco looked great and Rivas just didn't look at the races in that one there. I like him to beat Guido Cannetti here. Now, he has to be careful because I think he's going to knock him out, but that means he's going to have to probably catch him with a big shot on the outside, or he's going to have to engage close, which Cannetti likes to get in close and swing and wing hooks a little bit. I'm going to go Diego Rivas. I'm going to pick him via TKO, though. Interesting fight, women's flyweight division. I've had my eye on this one a little bit for probably a couple of weeks. First of all, there's a lot of hype on Andrea Lee now. I know she's been saying that she's been wanting to fight in a flyweight division, a UFC flyweight division for a long time. But a lot of people think this girl has what it takes to be a UFC champion. I've seen it on Twitter about 4 or 5 times from different people. I've seen it on Facebook as well. People genuinely rate this girl really, really highly. Now, I'm not saying she's not good. I just don't think she's as championship level. I don't think she's even, in my opinion, I don't think she's a top 10 flyweight. In my opinion, I think there's girls in there in the UFC that can beat her already. There's girls, and I'm not even talking about people like Valentina Shevchenko. I think she definitely beat some girls in the UFC flyweight division, but I think there's girls that have already beat her. Roxanne Modafferi beat her, for example. So there's girls in the UFC that can beat her. I think she's got a good matchup here, but I think Veronica Macedo has got what it takes to give Andrea Lee a really tough fight and make it a very, very close fight. And the odds in this, I was waiting for the odds in this one because I thought they were going to be a little bit crazy, and they are pretty much. And I think the line is only going to go up. Veronica Macedo, she came into the UFC against Ashley Evans-Smith, and she was fighting at bantamweight, a division she really had. She's like 5'3". There's nothing of her. Beautiful, beautiful girl. I must admit. You look at her on Google, and it's like, oh my god, she's gorgeous. A lot of skill though. She's a Taekwondo world champion. Andrea Lee's a Muay Thai world champion. So you've got two different styles there, two really good strikers. Macedo is like, she likes to use a lot of the spinning attacks. You saw her catch Ashley Evans-Smith with a beautiful spinning back kick right to the gut. And it definitely registered because she's seen the face of Ashley Evans-Smith. She didn't like that all too much. Both girls are brown belts as well. This is the girl in Macedo who I think she's very easy to take down. Without a doubt. I think Andrea Lee might look for that. I think she's going to be the aggressor in the fight. I think she's going to try and push Macedo up against the cage and look to get the fight there where she can unload with her strike. She's got a reach. She's the bigger girl here. Macedo, when you watch her fights before the UFC debut, she's got leg locks, she's got toe holds, she has knockouts, she's got a brutal head kick knockout out there. If you haven't seen it already, go check that out. So she is very dangerous, someone that I think matches up fairly well with Andrea Lee. I watched Andrea Lee's last, I've probably watched the majority of her career actually. I think the only fight I haven't seen is her actual first fight where she lost, where she won her first 2 fights. Then I seen her against Sharon Sin way back in 2014. She faced Roxanne Modafferi, Raquel Ostovich, who she beat via submission in a very kind of back and forward fight. Ariel Beck, who's fought in the UFC, she beat her. Sarah DeLillo, she lost. And then Jenny Liu, she got knocked out in that one there. So, and then she went on to LFA to win fights. She won a belt down in there as well. So, yeah, I just don't think she's that great, actually. I think is she better than Macedo? Perhaps. I just think the line's a little bit off. And I think the skill sets that these two, the varying skill sets, could be very, very interesting. As long as Macedo doesn't take a backward step and tries to engage and not be backed up, I think she can definitely win this fight. I really do. I think it's a little bit of a Hail Mary pick, in my opinion, maybe because I just don't rate Andrea Lee overly that much. Is she better than Veronica Macedo? Probably. But I'm willing to take the shot at Macedo at this one. And our odds, let me see, are plus 245. Has that even went up even more? Plus 265. If that goes over plus 300, I'm probably going to take a small shot on Veronica Macedo. And I'm actually going to pick her to win this fight here. I think it's going to be a close back and forward fight. I see it being a split decision for either girl. I just think I'm going to take a shot in the dog. And that's maybe just me not being the biggest fan of Andrea Lee, but I think the skill sets match up well, and I think this could be a tough fight for her. But I also think it could be a tough fight for Macedo as well. I'm going to take the shot on Veronica Macedo here, so I'm going to pick her via a very, very close split decision here. So moving on, we are in the light heavyweight division. Jared Cannonier against Dominick Reyes. Sorry for kicking that there. This fight kind of reminds me of last week, Cesar Mutante Ferreira against Carl Roberson, where you've got a guy in Dominick Reyes who's come in, won a couple of fights, like Roberson has, looked decent against jobbers, let's say it. They're nothing more than that. I mean, he beat Joachim Christensen, probably put him in a retirement home. He's that old, he could probably be in a retirement home, and absolutely destroyed him. Showed off some really beautiful striking in that one. And then in his fight against Jeremy Kimball just like threw a couple of air shots and then tried to take him down. Had a couple of positions where he had his back, but then once he got put on his back, he had no idea. He basically quit, in my opinion, because he got down there, got his back taken, didn't even fight the hands, didn't even try to maneuver position to get out of the choke, and just pretty much just sat there and just tapped straight away. He didn't really fight it. He realised that he wasn't going to go out, and he tapped. I thought he quit. I thought he could have done more. And then obviously they had the fight with Christensen. So he's 2-0. He's making that step up to definitely a better opponent in Jared Cannonier here. Cannonier, a pretty decent striker. Big dude coming down from heavyweight. He's won up at heavyweight via KO, so that power's definitely translated down there. He's definitely fought the better opposition of opponents than what Dominick Reyes has. So this reminds me a lot of, like I said last week, Carl Roberson, and I went with a more experienced guy in Mutante Ferreira. I actually bet him as an underdog. I think it was plus 125, and cashed a really nice bet, a really nice easy bet as well, which was decent to get out there in the first round with that nice submission. Jared Cannonier's talking about win or lose this fight, he's moving down to 185, which I think is a big jump from 205 down to 185. He's not the biggest dude either. But I think I'm going to go. I've been struggling with this one, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to go with Dominick Reyes. I think he's just got enough of an all-round game to beat Jared Cannonier, but honestly, I'm not that confident. I'm going to pick him via 29-28 decision. Could he knock out Jared Cannonier? Absolutely. Could Cannonier maybe catch him with a shot? Absolutely. I'm going to go Dominick Reyes for the win here. Reyes via 29-28. Co-main event. This is one that I've been seeing a lot of action on online. A lot of people talking about this, and they're saying that Tatiana Suarez is absolutely the easiest money in the whole card. And I'm not. I think has a really good chance to win, but I don't think she is like easy money and she's a guaranteed win here whatsoever. It's your classic striker versus grappler here. Alexa Grasso versus Tatiana Suarez, with the striker obviously being Grasso and the wrestler being Suarez. I thought Suarez looked incredible in the Viviana Pereira fight, coming off a long injury, and she kind of brutalized that girl just by taking her down, controlling her. Very, very strong grappling. I still think she's got a lot of work on the feet. That's something that I think she has to show in the future. I don't think she can show it in a fight against Grasso. I think Grasso is leaps and bounds ahead of her in terms of technique, boxing skill, just overall kind of striking. But when you look at Suarez' grappling credentials, she's miles ahead of what Alexa Grasso has. But I think Grasso can do enough to maybe get back to her feet. Maybe it's a big if. She was taken down by Felice Herrig. I think Randa Marcos got her down. That was a close fight. If that wasn't in Mexico, I don't know whether she would have won that fight. It was very close. I had it just for her, but it was really, really close. I've watched Alexa Grasso come through Invicta. She smashed the girls on there, rightly so, with a beautiful boxing, great crisp technique, a beautiful jab, puts combinations together well, very accurate, has a little bit of power for a strawweight. I think it's just her accuracy that really adds up to being the defining factor for her. It's all about whether she can stop takedowns. If she can stop takedowns and put it on Suarez, I think she has a really good opportunity to win this fight. I struggle to see her stopping takedowns, though. That's the thing. Even if it gets to the clinch, I think that Suarez is going to outmuscle her. I think that if it gets to the ground as well, I think that Suarez has a submission game that she's shown on The Ultimate Fighter, and she's shown in the UFC as well. I don't know why I want to pick Alexa Grasso in this fight. I don't know why, because there's clear advantages when it comes to the ground game in Suarez, and I do see her getting the fight to the ground. So I'm going to pick Suarez for the simple reason I think she will get takedowns, and I think she can dominate parts of the round. I think initially it could be a little bit hairy for her to start off the round. She might take some shots. Once she realises, I don't like taking those shots, she's going to go back and revert to that wrestling game. And I think she wins the round by laying on Grasso for 2-3 minutes, advancing position, not really getting anywhere. Might get a submission. Who knows? I'm going to pick Suarez via decision, but honestly, I'm not as confident as what people are on Twitter and Facebook and social media and so on. They're like, this is done deal already. I don't see it that way at all. So I'm going to pick Suarez. Am I putting on my most confident list? I don't think I am. I know Sydney Chung, a guy who's always messaged me. Sorry, I forgot to get back to you this week. He's very, very high on her in this one, and rightly so. A lot of people seem to be. I'm just not one of those people this week. It's a good fight for her to see if against a really good striker, but she could come out there and totally boss it like she did the Pereira fight. I just like Suarez to win. Convinced that I think she'll take a few licks, but I think she'll win the fight. So I'm going to pick Suarez for a decision. And the main event of the night, we have Demian Maia stepping in here in about 4 weeks' notice after Santiago Ponzinibbio pulled out, as he's against the most dodged man in the UFC, the Nigerian nightmare, Kamaru Usman. Fair play to Demian Maia for stepping in here, because it's a big, dangerous fight, a big, horrible fight that nobody wants to fight this guy. So, and he stepped up. So fair play to him for doing so. I don't like the matchup for him, though. He's coming off a pretty brutal beatdown he got from Colby Covington a little bit. He did start off the fight really, really well. Caught him with some strike, busted up Colby a little bit, but eventually faded. And for me, I think Kamaru Usman is the most dangerous guy. I think with his all-around game, he's dangerous. I think his striking is definitely coming on. I don't think it's nowhere near where it should be for being a top 7, top 6 guy in that division. I think it's something he needs to establish. I think this is a fight he can establish his striking. So his grappling is next level. Very powerful, rinse and repeat takedowns. You've seen against Emil Meek, just dominated him and took him to the ground whenever he wanted to, and just he said he wasn't really fighting at full capacity there. The one thing that he has to be careful of, that he has been submitted in the past. If you go back and watch the Ultimate Fighter fights against Michael Graves, who I think is a good fighter, He took his back. Now, if he gives that opportunity to Demian Maia, he's going to be in big, big trouble. But it's hard to see it getting that far. I think that what Demian Maia is going to do, he's going to be like Tyron Woodley here. He's going to start shooting from so far out. I think that Cameron's just going to literally just bat it off, and he's going to sit in his back. And I think eventually, once Demian slows down, he might enter the guard a little bit and rain some ground and pound and really put a beating on Demian Maia. That's kind of how I see this fight going. Now you can never count out Demian Maia, especially if it goes to ground. If you give him the opportunity, he will catch you with something. I just think Kamaru's going to play with him a little bit. He's going to tire him out. Once he starts tiring him out, I think he's going to finish him. So my pick's going to be Kamaru Usman. Too athletic, too strong, just too good for Demian Maia. Demian Maia came out today and said he's already thinking about retiring after his UFC deal. I think it's 3 fights after this one. So it's hard to see past Kamaru Usman. Yeah, I don't think I'll be seeing many people predict Demian Maia to win this fight outside of maybe Colby Covington or something like that. But Kamaru Usman is going to be my pick there. I'm going to pick him via TKO on round number 3. So that is my picks for UFC Fight Night 129 from Santiago, Chile. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you can. Leave your picks down below in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And next week I'll be breaking down UFC Liverpool, which I'm going to be down in Liverpool for Darren Tilligan, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Looking forward to getting down there. If you're going to be there, let me know. We can meet up and we can talk some fights. But until then, enjoy the fights from Chile this weekend, and all the best.